Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we have a really interesting clue mid-month sneak peek, essentially, that was data mined and found in the game file. So this is a really big piece of news because if it is what a lot of people think it is, it could mean some amazing things. So this is the only thing that was data mined. It's the mid-month token, and it has this symbol on it. Now, you're probably wondering what that symbol is if you can't already tell what it is and you can't read what it says right up here. This symbol has nothing to do with Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Baron Zemo. It has to do with, and it's actually the symbol on Spectrum's chest. And Spectrum is Monica Rambeau. So what people are speculating, and again, I just want to go on, it's always important to repeat this. This is purely speculation. There's no guarantee that any of this is actually going to come to fruition besides that coin being in the game. But with that coin being branded as such with a very specific emblem, it would be not surprising if we got Monica Rambeau as a brand new character, which is really cool for so many reasons. One, we don't usually get new characters for the mid-month updates. I think Cersei was the only one, I believe. So that's really, really dope. And two, what else would the update be about? Because usually the mid-month updates have to do with the main update, but the main update is Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus. So a lot of people were speculating, okay, so if we got Bucky and Zemo and blah, 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 in this part of the update, then the second part is going to be US Agent. It's going to be maybe a uniform for Agent 13. It's going to be pretty small. This has nothing to do with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, guys. So the possibilities here are pretty insane. Like, some people think it's going to be a WandaVision mid-month update, or it could be a bunch of other things. So it's really, really, really cool. And now I want to talk about Monica Rambeau, and I want to introduce this character a little bit for those of you that don't know, because there really isn't anything else to talk about as far as this. The implications, the possibilities are vast and really hype, but maybe if we want to get some more ideas about what the update could be, we have to look instead at the character Monica Rambeau and how she could be linked to this update in this, in the case that they're doing an update, right? If they're just doing Monica Rambeau and nothing else, that's also a possibility. Maybe tier 3 Zemo or whatever, or maybe tier 3 Spectrum, maybe tier 3 Monica. But anyways, let's go check this out. So who is Monica Rambeau? I was looking on the Marvel website and I was reading up about the character. I knew quite a bit about the character already, but it's always good to learn more. Thanks to Stephanie Williams for writing this. So Monica Rambeau, really interesting. She is the daughter of Maria Rambeau. If you haven't seen Captain Marvel, Maria Rambeau is one of the jet fighter pilots that flies in the US Army with Carol Danvers way back in the day before she ever gets the power of Captain Marvel. So anyways, Monica Rambeau actually is first the first human. She's the first Captain Marvel to be human, and she's actually the first one after Marvel, the Kree, who is the original Captain Marvel. So she's actually Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers is Captain Marvel. So that's an important thing to note, because maybe we're going to get a Captain Marvel themed update. As much as I don't want to repeat the word Captain Marvel, there have been so many Captain Marvels, and there's actually a lot of lore just within that group of characters. Like I just mentioned, there's Monica, there's Carol, and there's Marvel, the Kree. He also has a son. I believe his name is Genius or Genius. So there's right there's 4 characters, potentially 3 that we don't even have in the game. So it's pretty wild. Anywho, Monica Rambeau, not Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau gets her powers in a pretty straightforward way. She's helping a friend of her grandfather's, and there's this machine, and the machine is sort of, it's disrupting its energy. It's about to explode or whatever. So she smashes the machine with her hands, and that unleashes this power that gives her these Captain Marvel type powers. Now, the power of Captain Marvel and the bands, that's not the bands, the quantum bands is for Quasar. Anyways, the Captain Marvel power that Carol Danvers has is not quite the same as Spectrum's power, Monica Rambeau's power, even though they're both called Captain Marvel. Essentially, what Monica can do is, she has a whole bunch of like regular powers like durability, flight, super strength, blah, blah, blah. But she can transform herself into any energy on the electromagnetic spectrum. I believe it's the electromagnetic spectrum. So yeah, her power is pretty crazy. Yeah. So the power to change her body into any form of electromagnetic energy. It's really, really cool. So at one point, she slingshots herself around the sun, and she turns into a beam of gamma ray in order to penetrate a shield that is doing something it shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And then when Zeus, the Olympian god, blasted the Avengers with a thunderbolt, she shifted her body. She phased her body a la Vision to dodge the attack. So she can use this power both offensively and defensively. She's super strong. Here, this is the original Moonstone. That's like the original look for Moonstone, which is hilarious because Carly looks completely different now. But Moonstone almost had her neck broken by Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, which is crazy because Moonstone's supposed to be the, Dark Avengers knockoff version of Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. And Monica almost snapped her neck. And this chick wanted nothing to do with Monica, and she just dips with the Stark weapons, and Monica's like, nah, I don't think so. So yeah. Anyways, she ends up changing her name. She's the first Captain Marvel. Genus Vel then takes Captain Marvel because it was his dad's name, and then she changes her name to Photon, and then Genus Vel changes his name to Photon. It's really dumb. So then she changes her name to Pulsar. That was short-lived because then she goes to Spectrum, and I think that's the best name that she's had. So she's had a lot of names, but Spectrum is by far the best. Here is a panel where she's taking on a horde of vampires, I believe. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Now, that's everything we need to know about Monica, essentially. If we look on the Marvel website for her power level, you can see the rankings for durability, energy, fighting skills, intelligence, speed, and strength. I actually don't usually feature this kind of stuff in my videos, but I want to start doing this more because it's really, really cool. And it reminds me of those cards from the 90s. There was a bunch of Marvel collectible cards, and it would have the character on the front, like this design, and you'd flip it over, and it would have these indicators for their different power levels. So I just really like it, and it's really nostalgic for me. So anyways, super strong, super fast, and pretty tanky. Sounds like a badass to me. So yeah, you can see there she has like 1,000 names a la Prince, but yeah. Really, really cool. So why does any of this matter? Well, along the way, along her journey of being a super badass hero, she joins the Avengers. She's the co-leader of the Avengers at one point. She joins Next Wave at one point. She joins Ultimates at one point. She joins a bunch of different groups. So what I was thinking was, if this mid-month update is going to be big, okay, if they're going to be centering the update around Monica, then they probably want to choose one of the teams that Monica has been a part of, because that's sort of the way that it most makes sense in my head, because it's a possibility that the mid-month update is just going to be WandaVision Part 2, and maybe they're going to give us Agatha with a uniform and Monica with a uniform. That's definitely possible, but at the same time, I don't know. Again, it's possible. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem like it's just weird that they would delay Monica this much and then just bring her back into the WandaVision window, because Monica, as we've seen, is so much bigger than WandaVision. Agatha does have existence in the comics, Agatha Harkness, but she's not nearly as popular. Monica is legit popular, and unlike Agatha and Wanda, Monica didn't get to display any of her powers in WandaVision, so it kind of doesn't even make sense to me that we would get the WandaVision version of Monica Rambeau Spectrum, because she barely uses her powers at all. And there's so much badass content that they can take from the comics to bring her to life in the game. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's what they're going to do. So the first group I wanted to go with, and it's one that I've actually talked about potentially getting an update multiple times. And so imagine if this is the mid-month update, right? Because of how huge this is. This is basically another full update. It's definitely possible that we could have an Ultimates mid-month update, because that's Monica, that's her icon, which is the token. That would be a uniform for Black Panther, which we've been asking for months. That could be a uniform for Brashear, who is Blue Marvel. That could be a uniform for America Chavez, and then that's Captain Marvel. We have all these other characters in the game, and they could all use a uniform. So this one, to me, seems really spicy. And then Galactus, they could introduce, a World Boss Ultimate Legend, or like what Giant Boss Raid Legend mode, a la in the same idea, the same vein as World Boss Legend or World Boss Ultimate. right? Maybe they'll introduce like a solo Galactus fight that's like 10 times harder or whatever. So that's definitely a possibility, and I think that's really, really cool. Another possibility is a team that she joined very recently, so this one might have a little bit more weight to it. Strike Force. She joined Strike Force. They started Strike Force in 2019, so it's very, very new. And as you will see, at one point, Strike Force teams up with Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. So this has a connection to the current update. So this one might be a little bit more on the nose than the Ultimates, but there you have Monica. Blade, which would be so cool if he got like a tier 3 or Transcendence. Angela, who hasn't been spoken of or heard of in like 5 years. Spider-Woman, which is another cool one. And then Wiccan. And Wiccan also connects to Monica because, of course, Kid Wiccan, one of Wanda's kids, is in WandaVision. So, man, both of these potential updates are heavy hitters in my opinion, humongous bangers, and either one of these I think could really be mega hype. I really like, regardless of which set of characters we get, I think it would be awesome because you have here, right? You have here 1, 2, 3 characters out of 4 are basically unusable. So them getting reworks would be fantastic. And then here you have basically 1, 2, 2.5 characters, 2 characters that are unusable, 1 character that just needs a Transcendence or a tier 3, and then Spider-Woman. So either way, right? Either way. Again, it's possible that I am totally overshooting the scope of this update and it's just going to be Monica. And it's also possible that it's not even going to be Monica. But then if it's not Monica Rambeau, if it's not Spectrum, if it's not this update, then why would they put her insignia, her logo on the token? Hit me up in the comments down below with your theories about this. I really want to hear from you and how hype you are about this and the possibilities for it. What kind of character do you think Monica's going to be? Do you think she's going to be a regular character like Cersei? Is she going to be a native tier 2? Is it possible she's a native tier 3? Power-wise, she honestly might be justifiable as a native tier 3. I'm not sure. She can turn into gamma energy. She can turn into just pure energy. That's pretty badass. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.